already at it, huh?
Yep. You got a few parts in.
We got some goodies, transmission cooler.
Cooler stuff.
Nice, nice.
All the battery cable stuff. So remote posts that I'll put under the engine bay so I could add all of the wiring we need to. Extra ground straps because anytime you move the battery to the back you want to make sure your grounding is up to par. Alternator charge wire to charge the battery directly from the alternator to the battery. And then the main power feed wire. And then there's an extra ground in here for the back. So we'll have plenty of ground. Oh, and then I ordered a shut-off switch so we could shut off and kill the battery for the track. I think I'll just put that on the bumper. Transmission cooler line. That goes with tranny cooler.
Awesome. It looks good without the battery here already.
Alright, so what madness have you been up to over here?
I started drilling this hole, drilled this one, and then this little index hole for the battery shut off. So it should go like that, and then the switch will be right here. We may have to put like a remote rod, a push pin rod or something on it to be officially legal. But basically we'll just put it here mainly for us to shut off the battery when we need to, if we're doing any electrical work with the bed on, instead of climbing down here and undoing the battery.
Yeah,
The negative cable, he had the frame painted pretty thick, so I had to grind a little spot. And then I just used a 3/8 bolt and made the cable to the right length and grounded it. We'll have to zip tie it up, but that's the negative. And then on the positive side, I already cut this one to length. So basically it'll go from here to here, and we'll just zip tie it up so it doesn't flop around.
Yeah.
So the alternator goes to this side directly, nothing else. It'll only go to this side of the switch, so when we shut it off, it kills the alternator to the main battery power wire.
Okay.
So we still have to run the main power. I'll probably run it through the frame. I don't usually like doing that, but it kind of protects it from the suspension, the exhaust, from moving parts. It might need some like protection on it so it doesn't get chafed, like from vibration and stuff like that. But for now, just run it, and then I'll order something and just slide it over the tube through it. Once we get up to probably about the cab, we'll have to run it on the outside, so I'll probably poke through one of these holes. I don't know if there's one on the inside, maybe this one or this one, and then just kind of follow the frame all the way down, and then we have to go up to those junction boxes up top. We probably could lower it and look at those so I could kind of explain. So the old battery used to be here, and so some people asked us about how we would jump start it or charge up the battery. So my thought was just put some post adapters out. You could put them in the back or the front, wherever. So I just got these two, which are bulkhead adapters. So they have the post on the back, so you could connect a cable on the back. Basically the ground, this is just going to go from here to the engine. It's not even going to really be serving any function other than just a grounding point for the battery charger, jumper cables, or whatever. The positive is actually going to connect to the battery switch. So from here to the switch will be a straight shot. From here to the amp will be where we get our junction block power. This will go down to the starter, and this will also power up our fuse box, the factory fuse box on the truck. So this used to go to the battery. I'll cut it short and we'll just tap right off of here.
Perfect. The amp, that's a big one.
Yeah, the amp. It's already hooked up. It doesn't have any power yet.
We need the subs up in there.
So this is the old one that went down to the starter. It's obviously not long enough. I'll probably just make a new one from there to here. You could extend these. It's kind of ghetto, but I'm not going to extend this. I'll just put a new cable on it just because we've done so many nice things on the truck. Why ghetto it now? So I'll put a new cable on, and we'll just save this one for another project somewhere down the road.
Yep.
So we'll just go from here to the starter. Basically, that's all it's doing is supplying the starter with 12 volts whenever the solenoid connects. That's pretty much it. I'll have to run the alternator one to the back, like I was saying earlier, but that'll be fairly simple. We don't have to do it for it to be running, but if we want the battery switch to work as it's designed, it has to go alternator to battery to where when you shut it off, it actually kills the power. Anytime you remote mount a battery, you have to make sure your engine is grounded to the frame. We are grounded to the frame on the battery, so now we have to ground the engine to the frame on the front. So this is just one of a few grounds. We'll have the frame grounded, we'll have the cab grounded to the engine, we'll have probably the core support grounded to the engine as well. The more grounds, the better.
Man, we're supposed to be getting her back together, Potak.
So it's got to come apart first. Okay. This is aftermarket, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks kind of cheesy.
Yeah, it's
Somebody
definitely all
painted
messed up. So we had planned on replacing that anyway. I'll just have to go break the bad news to Trevor that he's gonna have to buy one sooner rather than later, because I'd rather not put that one on there.
Yeah, while we're here, we might as well put a new one on. This piece is kind of, the little clip was broke off. That's why the grill was sticking out. It didn't have the retainer.
Oh yeah, I saw that before.
And there's a missing screw. Look, it's already got the lightweight mod here. We'll have to find one for when we put the new one on.
Where are you thinking about the cooler going?
I think on this side. So the 6L80s, the cooler lines exit on the driver's side of the transmission, or the left side. So it'd be closer or shorter routing to put it on this side if there's no steering interference. Typically they're on this side, which is where the stock one goes, but the lines kind of come under the engine and cross over. So I could put it on either side, but it'll be right there or right there. It just depends on how the routing looks.
You want to lift it up or what?
Holes. No, not yet. I just have to think about how I want to lay out everything. It would be easier as far as I wouldn't have to cut anything because there's this access hole already punched out with AC, so that might be easy. I have enough line to do it either direction, whether it snakes under the engine or not. It may be easier this way just so it doesn't get in front of the steering shaft. So we'll just try a few different routing options before we finalize one. So here's the factory cooler lines in the radiator.
So what do you have to do with those? Block them off?
I think I'll just leave them like they are. They don't have any oil dripping out of them, so we'll just leave them kind of as is. We could probably get the 2018 cooler lines and try to make them work. I just don't know the dimensions of this truck. Is a lot smaller. I mean, if you park this next to a 2018 truck, you would see there's a huge size difference, and I don't know if that extends from the transmission to the radiator difference or frame rails and stuff. So for us, just running AN line is kind of the easiest thing and gives us an aftermarket cooler that is a lot better than this one anyway.
So we could run ice water through here and cool it even more, huh?
Maybe. It's just kind of along for the ride, the way I see it.
Maybe find some caps or something.
This is actually a more efficient cooler than the front-mounted auxiliary cooler, because this one will cool the fluid down. Like if the transmission's way hotter than the engine temp, it'll cool it down quicker through here, and then you run it through the auxiliary cooler to kind of get it even cooler. But this thing wasn't even running hot with the line looped. It didn't really show any signs. I was monitoring the transmission temperature. It got to like 117, which is hardly anything for transmission fluid.
I mean, with all those sweet burnouts too.
Yeah, with all the burnouts we were doing. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Potak has given me the good word that it's about time to finally put the bed on. So we still got to get it bolted down. So Omar didn't have the bed over at RST because we still had it here. So the exhaust is just a tad bit high right here in the rear. So we're just going to have to pop this exhaust off. Luckily, he did it with V-bands. It's going to be easy. We'll pop it off. We'll just cut that little section out. And hey, she'll bolt right down like a champ. Walk us through what's going on here now. We got this all cut up.
Yeah, the exhaust came close to the bed, so I just went and just drew a line and notched it with the Sawzall. Then just on the back a little bit. It hit more on this side than this side, so I had to cut it a little bit on this this further one back too. So
All good to go though, huh?
good to go. I put it back together, and we'll put that other tune in that we're talking about putting in it for the dyno.
Go test it out. See if it'll
Test
stay
it,
in
make
fourth.
sure it stays. It should have first through fourth, and just be like a normal 4-speed, and that's it.
And the system is hooked
No
back
overdrive.
up, so we got some knocks while we cruise down the street. We
We
may
could
just have
go,
to call it a day out here and just cruise this
We
around
can
all
cruise
night.
this to Sonic now. We got tail lights, supposedly. I plugged them in.
I can't see what the plate says.
I don't know. What's the date? Oh, we're good. May 31st. We're good for another 2 months. Oh, it's the wrong year.
Oh, dang. That makes me sad. Oh, man. Jeez, it's been that long? Dang.
Well, we didn't start on it till, what,
Yeah.
June or July?
Okay, well, the truck has not been cleaned up yet, and it is by no means done. Hood's still in the bed. We got some things to finish up, but I figured I'd give you guys a view around it, at least so you can check it out with the bed on it, see what it looks like. We may have to adjust the suspension a little bit, but here it is.
Rebuilding an engine back here on his big rig wrecker.
Yeah. Dang, that looks pretty intense.
Yeah, they got a lot of parts on the ground there with some crazy tools. Not shop truck though, she's running like a G. This thing just drives so good, dude.
Drives
Like that's
really nice.
It's like stock.
It's been a long time coming to get shop truck finished up, and it's still not finished, but it is worth every bit. This thing drives so
We don't
good.
have any AC. That's the biggest complaint right
We need
now.
some AC. We'll have it soon. That's fourth there, Florence. See if it tries to downshift.
They're trying to downshift.
It definitely downshifted. I'm not so sure it held in fourth on that one.
There's fourth.
We're gonna
Yeah.
like at neutral.
Yeah, it's I don't have the tack hooked up. We may have to play with the tuning some more before we confirm or put it on the dyno. It still has some torque management in it that what it looked like it did was it pulled the throttle back, which the speed that it shifts at, or the gear that it shifts at, is based off the throttle. So it pulled it back to like 43% when it was acting up. And basically it fell into that part of the table where it wanted to basically downshift for whatever reason. So I shut off basically its ability to downshift, I think. Yeah, I can't even get it into fourth because of how I set it up.
Really?
Maybe into fourth. It's hard to tell.
Trial run number 3 or 4.
3 or 4. You have to program it to basically stack the shifts, so it's going to shift fairly early. Should.
2.
It's supposed to shift early, but it's not.
You gonna try shutting the battery off and on?
I think I'll just take it down the road.
I think that's the best route. Third, fourth. Okay.
Okay. bad thing about this is it may not go back to first from a stop.
It seems like it's downshifted. But we'll find out here in a second.
Okay.
Oh yeah, she's in first.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was worried about with doing some hokey dyno tune.
Now we gotta
tuning.
make sure it doesn't downshift.
Yeah.
Second.
That one's kind of high.
Yeah. Third. Fourth. Fourth. Nope, still wants to downshift.
No, it didn't want to do it. Like the weird thing it did, I fixed that part.
Yeah.
But it still wants to downshift.
It still wants to downshift.
I might have to have Jason look at the tune. He's a little bit more savvy on stuff like that. When I tell him what I need to do, I wish we could just hold it. When we were talking to Spear Tech about doing the little up and down tap button, they talked like it wouldn't work on this year software on that our ECM has, and that we might have to go to like a 2014 Corvette.
Well, that's why there's these trial runs.
Yeah.
Get it all ironed out. It's not like we're trying to do something it was meant to do. We were trying to get it to stick in fourth
No,
gear.
and what I was trying to do with that was like, if we were downshifting at, let's say, 35 miles an hour, and second gear max shift is like 36 or 37, well, those two speeds overlap. So I was trying to get them to where they were linear, going all the way up through the gears, and that didn't seem to work. I'm sure somebody's done this before. This is kind of the first time I've tried to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Usually, you know, if we were doing this in a 2018 truck, you just hold it,
Push the
with the
button.
button, and it goes to manual mode on the dash. So it's just one of those things we have to figure out.
Are the fans on?
No, the engine coolant's only 185.
Oh, okay.
The trans temp's 133. Today's a little bit hotter day, so the intake air temp's 93. It's making 45 foot-pounds of torque right now.
Nice.
It's I mean, everything else looks great. The fuel trims are good. Everything looks good on the data. There's a couple of codes that pop up. They're kind of hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
I could turn on the fan right now manually. Fans. So we should have fans right there.
There we go.
You could hear them.
Yep.
And those are some Haas fans.
Yeah, the temp's dropping by the freaking second.
Be interesting to see if I could see it drop. But it went from 196 to 194 just as I was watching it just now. 165. That's 20 degrees that it dropped. Of course the hood's off, so it's gonna speed up that process quite a bit.
Yeah.
We're at 163 right now, kind of holding. I don't know, that might be it. It does have a thermostat. I think the thermostat's probably like 195 or so. So it's going to cool off. What's going to happen is it's going to cool, the thermostat's shut now, so it's going to cool off the radiator. And then the thermostat's going to open, and then it's going to shoot up, and then bring it back down, and it'll kind of oscillate because of the thermostat. So the minimum temperature that it's going to output is whatever the thermostat is.
Yeah.
And then it's going to hold that in the radiator until it does the process again. So it's climbing now, even though the fans are on. That's cool.
That is cool.
That's a good test.
Yep. Well, it's starting to get to about 6 here, so we're probably going to wrap it up for today and get back to work on Shop Truck tomorrow. So it's getting more and more exciting the closer it gets. I just want it done. It's like so close now. We got to get the hood on it, which I don't know if we're going to be able to do with that stock intake, so we may have to dyno it first. But hey, it's little things now to button up. It's not the big deals that are going to take weeks. It's just little, like I said, little buttons here and there. It's going to be ready to go. See you guys later.